Disclaimer: doll customization is a hobby for adults only. This is due to the materials used, such as sharp blades and toxic aerosols. This causes irreversible changes to personal property. Under no circumstances should anything in this video be recreated by a child. If you're looking for child-friendly content, please go to YouTube Kids.
Hello internet adventurers, and welcome to Renile Dolls. I'm Renile, and today I'm going to be doing a very special doll for a fantasy doll swap hosted by Saying Kawaii on Instagram. When I thought of fantasy, my immediate thought was my love of D&D and particularly fantasy creatures like Manticores, so that's what I decided to do. First, let's do their faces. I said they because I decided to do two dolls because I wanted one for myself, and then I made another one for my swap partner. Started with pastels, and I looked up reference pictures of lions to get the face shape right. So it was lots of black, white and grey colours. Then I started on their eyes. One of them I gave a more yellow to orange eyes. The other one has a more orange to red and with more intense shadows. Naturally, I did my technique of picking up the pigment with a paintbrush and some water from my pencils to just make everything a little more vibrant. This is my favourite technique and I absolutely love it. While doing these dolls, I realised I liked their faces a lot more than my usual dolls, and it took me a second to realise that it was because they didn't have eyebrows. I'm terrible at drawing eyebrows, as you can probably tell. Now I add in the eye shines and some extra little highlights with some white acrylic paint. As you can see with the second doll, I gave her a more intense face with darker shadowing. I wanted her to look like a sort of sassy, roguish character from, well, Dungeons and Dragons, which is one of my favourite things in the world. Now I'm going to add some shine to their mouths, noses and eyes with some Liquitex High Gloss varnish. Now let's do their hair. This was quite a simple process. I got some chunky yarn and some Mod Podge, and I just glued it straight onto the head. I did this with both of the Manticore girls. One of them has a grey hair, one of them has a dark red haircut. I love using Mod Podge for gluing down yarn wefts and yarn hair. It's just so much easier than using a hot glue gun or regular tacky glue. And now time for the clothes. I decided to make two different outfits for my Manticore girls. One of them would have dark brown trousers, a sort of long jacket trimmed with fur. Would make them some little boots out of, I think this one was a sort of velvet type of material. This was the little jacket. It has a shorter back section to make room for the tail I'll be adding later, and some sleeves that I made way too long, but I liked them anyway. It's this gorgeous velvet fabric with these little speckle things. And then I'm going to knit both Manticore girls a scarf. My one has a red scarf and the other Manticore girl has a grey scarf. So here is the sewn up top jacket thing, and I added fur to it, and then I made this little leather belt with a small bag and a bell attached, which I think is really cute. It also has straps that go around the neck. Made this from some faux leather I got from a skirt. And this is the outfit for the other Manticore girl. I made a suede jacket with a little leather sort of long-tailed waistcoat thing and some red velvet trousers. I tried to make sure all the textures were different as her outfit was primarily black. I then made her her own belt, which was just one that goes across the waist with a triangle pocket and her own bell. Then I made her some long boots out of the same faux leather that her little waistcoat is made from. These are the two scarves completed, and they are absolutely adorable. Next I started doing the shoes. For this I got a pair of Monster High flip-flop sandals. Luckily I had two pairs of them, and I cut off the flip-flop part to make the sole base of the shoe, and then I just hot glued them down nice and tightly. I then painted them black first, and then for the more intense Manticore girl I painted them copper. I then glued on little beads to the front to simulate what looks like sort of paw pads that a cat would have. I know they're meant to have 4, but I only had 3 beads for each foot at the time. So I did this simply by getting some hot glue, putting it on there, gluing it on, and then using the hot glue to just smooth everything out afterwards. Now it's time for some body modifications. Of course, I need to make their classic scorpion-like tails. I do this with wire wrapped around itself and lots of beads that I got from a chunky necklace I bought. Then I just secure it all in place with some super glue to make sure everything is good and secure. I then later attach a pin to the head of that to keep it in the doll's back. For the scorpion sting itself, I used my air dry clay to just start shaping it around the little bit of wire I left out. Then once it was all finished being shaped and it had dried thoroughly, I sanded it down, added, I believe, 2 to 3 coats of black acrylic paint, then I believe 2 coats of Liquitex high gloss varnish to make it match the shine that the beads had. Here are both of the tails. One of them has a shorter, thinner beads and is a little bit longer. One of them is a little bit chunkier than the other. And I am extremely proud of them. They are semi-posable, but they don't hold their shape in crazy positions because they're quite weighted. I then just take hot glue and just glue them into the backs of the dolls. Just making sure they're nice and secure with all the hot glue I can find. Now I'm going to start making the wings out of lollipop sticks, which is what I saw Delightful doing. So I sawed some in half and then used this drill bit to just sort of start making tiny holes. I should have found the drill holder. This really hurt my hands. Here are all the holes successfully drilled with my hands. It took ages. Then I just attached them together with small nuts and bolts to make them posable. I then glued down a sheet of fabric on top. In hindsight, with the first wings, I should have painted the lollipop sticks first, then glued the fabric down with Mod Podge, which is what I did for the second pair of wings, because these ones turned out looking a little bit crusty, if that makes sense, which is why I kept them for the doll I was keeping for myself. I wanted my swap partner to get the best doll possible. So with this I just went along with the hot glue gun and just laid it down and then made sure to melt the glue through the fabric on the other side to make it nice and secure. Made sure to be careful around the nuts and bolts so I didn't block them off completely. Then I went in with some black acrylic paint to just paint all of the exposed sections. But here they are, beautiful and complete, and I love them both. This is Camies and her sister is called Terisan. I used the letters from the word Manticores and just smushed them around together until I got some names. And they are absolutely gorgeous. They were one of the most time-consuming projects I had, the most intricate body mods, but I love them and my swap partner loves hers as well. I just think they're adorable. So if you like that video, give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below, and make sure to visit my Instagram at Renile Dolls for more awesome doll stuff.